Hi, my name is Patrick and this is to analyze the NMAT 2024 paper. So I wrote the exam score of 298. So just a brief analysis of the same so that you understand what we talk. So the paper seems difficult. I remember I wrote the paper in 2020. Okay, the last paper NMAT I scored a 320. I think that's the highest ever score as far as NMAT is concerned. And this time when I wrote, I scored a 298, which is a drop of 22 marks. So yes, if you look at it, there's a drop in almost every section of the paper. So if you look at it, there's a drop in maths, there's a drop in verbal, there's a drop in logic. Now since I train students for quant, so I'm comfortable with quant and logic. But yes, logic also involves critical reasoning, which also somewhere the accuracy goes down. But this is the overall pattern. So from what I've noticed is that just the analysis of the paper as such. Tougher exam definitely. I mean, from whatever I've seen, talked about people and etc., the paper looks tougher than last year, right? And yes, I could not get a lot of words in verbal. I mean, there were a lot of words which were just going above my head and I couldn't understand the words. And because I couldn't understand the words, therefore difficult to solve the questions in the verbal section. So yes, somewhere vocabulary was required, but I don't know how much vocabulary because the words sounded a little difficult. Yeah, it was difficult to complete the paper. I mean, even I couldn't complete the paper. A few questions where I had to guess mark because I didn't have time to solve them. So that means it was a lengthy paper as such. And it is important that you also know that you need to guess mark a few questions so that you don't waste time on solving it. Remember, time becomes important and you should avoid wasting time as far as possible. Also, I just managed to complete the PE section. I remember during my previous attempt in 2020, I had solved the quant section enough time after the exam, but this time I was just managed to complete the quant section. Verbal, I didn't even I guess mark the last few questions. I mean, that's how it happened. So yes, the paper looks a little lengthier and a little tougher. I don't know it's the effect of CAT because CAT is tougher, therefore all the exams are tougher. It is it should not actually be that way, but yes, the paper looks tougher as such as compared to the last year's exam. My scores itself dropped by 22 marks, which was huge. From 320 to 298 is a huge drop. I mean, so that my guess mark is the paper was difficult. So some exam tips, I mean, from whatever I wrote. So learn to leave some questions that take a long time. Technically, something like RCs, there's no point reading the whole RC and then doing the questions. Maybe you can directly put the questions, or maybe if you feel the passage difficult, just mark and move forward. Because if you waste time on questions that take a longer time, you will have lesser time for questions that take a shorter time. And it doesn't make sense in a NMAT type of paper where you read a whole passage and try to solve 4 questions. It is a lot of wastage of time. So maybe 1 RCs or 2 RCs you can just guess mark without reading the question. It will save you time to solve remaining questions. Or if you feel your jumble para is very weak, maybe you can guess mark. These are questions that takes longer time. Try to solve the questions that take shorter time as fast as possible. It is important to complete the paper. Also, it is helpful if you know beforehand how many questions you will guess mark. For example, in my normal NMAT mock which you write, if I'm not able to complete the paper, I have to leave 8 to 10 questions in the end. That means I know I have to leave 4 to RCs, 8 questions. That will save me time maybe to solve the other questions. So it will help you. Why? Because it will be easier to leave the questions because you know beforehand what questions to leave, what questions to not. Having a good strategy in place definitely helps. Yes, you may have to adapt a bit based on how the exam situation is, but understanding the strategy definitely will help. Don't waste time on questions that take a longer time. As I said, time is of essence. Also understand that go through the questions that have been asked in the past. I mean, normally some of the questions get repeated and that could help, specifically in the later slots. So look at the questions that has been asked. Cutoffs, difficulty level, what has happened in my paper and the other papers right now, if it remains same, the cutoffs could drop. So last year the cutoff was around 232, around it may drop to 225 also, more than 225, maybe 227, 228, maybe 230, I don't know. But yes, the cutoff is expected to drop because the paper looks like slightly on a difficult level, right? I hope this helps. We'll come up with more videos that will help you with regards to preparation. Interested, you can subscribe to our channel. Thank you.